Did you know that it takes 3 weeks to form a habit? Giving up smoking, starting a new diet regime, pushing Apollo Crews. We're in week 3 of the Great Apollo Push. Do we continue as part of the norm to document the rise of Crews, or is this just another habit to break? Let's find out together. This is Raw Graded. Your commentation station for tonight is Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, and fresh back from his suspension, Samoa Joe. Look at him in a suit. Doesn't he look lovely? VIP Lounge gets us underway. MVP welcomes us to the only nightclub in the US that is still open. Incidentally, we need somebody stood at the top of the entrance ramp with a clipboard. So as wrestlers come out to be interviewed by MVP, they just have to meticulously find their name on the sheet of paper. Because if the name's not down, they're not coming in. MVP welcomes some of the competitors for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match to the ring. Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, all out there for a chat. They get interrupted by Vega's boys. Andrade, Austin Theory, and Angel Garza all head out to the ring, kick down the red ropers. Well, that's naughty. That'll get you kicked out of tramps in Worcester. I'm just saying. And Zelina Vega says that they should give up their spots, Black, Mysterio, and Cruz, and give them to her lads instead. If you wrote down in your Raw cheat sheet that this was going to become a 6-man tag, you are absolutely spot on. There is a scuffle, there's an ad break, and when we come back, 6-man tag team action to get us started. Good guys winning out to start with as well. Some great technical stuff from Aleister Black. Some stereo dives outside the ring as well. But Black gets worn down by Theory, Garza, and Andrade. These guys really need a name. I'm just saying. He makes a hot tag to Mysterio, who goes wild for a bit before he gets worn down. Then he gets the hottest of hot tags to Apollo Crews, who is the star of this match. Runs wild on everybody, breaks down into a brawl all around the ring. Andrade hits that big old back elbow that wipes out most of his opponents, but it only gets a 2.5 for Apollo Crews, not Super Crews. Crews manages to fight back into this, hits that beauty of a sit-out powerbomb, the old blue thunder bomb type maneuver for the 1, 2, 3, and Crews has just pinned the US champion. B+ for the opening of Raw, include VIP Lounge and 6-man tag as one grade. Great way to start Raw. This match got about 30 minutes. That and the VIP Lounge, it's about 45 minutes in total. It's like pretty much the first segment of the first third of Raw was this match. And it made Apollo Crews look like an absolute world beater, which I'm fine about. Andrade was complaining backstage to Charlie Caruso about the match. Apollo Crews finds it hilarious how much Andrade is complaining. And Andrade says, hey, if you want a shot at this US championship, you've got it whenever you want. And Crews says, how about now? And slaps him so hard it made my teeth rattle. Oh, whoa, that was a slap and a half from Crews. Zelina Vega makes the match for later on tonight. It is going to be Apollo Crews versus Andrade for the US Championship. Lovely. Triple threat action. It's Nia Jax versus Asuka versus Shayna Baszler. And before the match, Asuka reminds us that she made Nia Jax tap out. Fun little factoid to drop into the conversation there. As Baszler makes her way out last, she pulls Asuka out of the ring and ends up throwing her into the ladders outside the ring. Nia Jax follows, hoofs Shayna into the barricade. These three are just scuffling around the ringside area. Nia Jax drops Asuka, like runs at her with a charge, like a big chest push or something. And again, Asuka's head just bounces off the floor. Made me really nervous. Nia Jax grabs a ladder, throws it into the ring, wipes out both Shayna Baszler and Asuka with the ladder. They roll out of the ring. Nia's music plays. Oh, okay. Right. That's it. That's our match. That's the triple threat that they hyped like 24 hours before Raw. Right. This is an E. I'll tell you why this is an E, right? This is a match that you built for Raw that didn't happen, okay? The commentators didn't have a Scooby-Doo what was going on here, because the commentators were saying, as the fight was descending into chaos around the ring, Tom Phillips was going, hey, well, it's a triple threat, it's no DQ, so that's how this is going to go. And then the match just sort of ends. And doesn't even start, actually, rather than it just ends. And also, way to kill the push of Shayna Baszler a little bit, you know, and she's been battering people on Raw for the last couple of weeks. You just got to make her fodder for Nia Jax. Same with Asuka, who's a star. And just, they both fodder for Nia Jax. I don't have the desire to see Nia Jax in a strong position as WWE apparently do. I thought you didn't need to do this match. So you booked yourself once again into a situation where you put this match on and it was a non-match and everybody looks a bit silly for it. I'm giving it an E. Not a fan of this at all. Bobby Lashley versus Denzel. Dejournette up next. Bobby has asked Lana to stay backstage because she is too beautiful to be out there. She is a distraction. It's the same reason why I don't do WTF moments with Ross. Bobby Lashley just batters Dejournette here. That one arm slam, spear, 1, 2, 3, it's done. This is a C. Fine match. It was just a showcase for Bobby. Shows that Bobby has focus when Lana isn't there. They continue this sort of will they, won't they split up storyline between Bobby and Lana. We get a rematch from last week, which is a bit weird because it kind of felt like a bit of a fait accompli last week, but here we are. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. Intense war to start with. Ruby hits the Riott kick about a minute in, gets a 2 count, and Ruby sells it like horror. Because this is like a big move, and Liv Morgan kicked out. Ruby is just reading Liv the Riott Act with 2 T's. Throws her whips into the ropes. Liv reverses it, hits that springboard flatliner that is now called Oblivion. Nice. 1, 2, 3. Liv Morgan has beaten Ruby Riott again. After the match, Byron Saxton says, "Is this the end of the chapter for you, Liv Morgan?" And Morgan talks about how there's plenty more chapters to come. She says she's like most young women, she's trying to find herself and she's confident that she will. Okay, go off. C, this was fine. It didn't need to happen. Like, I don't know why we had a redo. C, it was fine. Off we go. Maybe now they'll both go and do other things. Charlie Caruso chats to Nia backstage about her actions over the last couple of weeks. Nia Jax says there is nothing anybody can do about the actions of Nia Jax, or rather, she says, nothing! I covered my mic because I know I'm very loud. Nothing! That's yeah, great. Good for you. Viking Raiders are backstage in full gear with red smoke all around them. They talk about the Street Profits, saying that they've never actually beaten the Viking Raiders. So for as long as the Viking Raiders are on the same roster as the Street Profits, they'll always be second best. They dare them to prove them wrong because they've got the smoke. Like kicks, there's red smoke all around them. This was infinitely better than what we got last week with the Viking Raiders singing in the car, eating turkey legs. Oh, can we all forget that happened? Let's all take a moment now to if I had a little Men in Black pen, look directly into this. Let's forget the carpool thing. Let's focus on this instead. This is how the Viking Raiders should be. He's back, and he's better than ever. Jinder Mahal, back on Raw, and he's facing Akira Tozawa. Did you know that Jinder Mahal is a former WWE champion? They only tell us 37 times during this match. It's even part of his announcement on the ring announcing. Very strange. This is just Jinder battering Tozawa, hits him with the Colossus. Done. Way, welcome back, Jinder. He looked fine. It was a C. It was good. It was just a show off for Jinder, really. I don't like Tozawa being in these matches because Tozawa is putting on a really passionate performance on NXT in the interim Cruiserweight Championship tournament. And then he comes onto Raw and just gets hammered by Jinder Mahal. Someone else could have done this, surely. Welcome back, Jinder. Don't hinder Jinder. Charlie Caruso tries to interview Andrade and Zelina again backstage, but they're having none of it. They walk off. Angel Garza metaphorically slides into Caruso's DMs, hands her a rose, and says, perhaps we should get to know each other. And Charlie's like, oh, that'd be nice. Blatant heel Angel Garza. Oh, love, eh? And so the US Championship is on the line. Apollo Crews versus Andrade. Some techers to start with Apollo taking an early advantage. Apollo goes for a moonsault off the apron and clearly sort of dings his leg. And Andrade spends the rest of the match working over that injured leg of Cruz. Cruz fights back into this, hits a beauty of an enziguri and a power slam, goes up for what I presume would be like a frog splash. Something gets a lot of height, but Andrade gets out of the way. and Apollo lands on that bad leg again, that bad knee. The referee steps in and stops the match, saying Apollo Crews can't continue. And Andrade is still the US champion. And we just get the shot of Andrade smiling in the ring with his music playing and Apollo Crews grabbing his knee. About 20 minutes after this, we find out that Apollo Crews has injured himself so badly that he is now out of the Money in the Bank ladder match. Charlie Caruso tries to interview him a bit later on about it. He's on his crutches, his leg is all iced up, and he's in tears, like he's beside himself and he's not able to talk. But this whole match, I'm going to give a B+ to. I thought it was a really strong match tonight. These two had a nice story that was told as well. And we continue the push in a kind of roundabout way of Apollo Crews. I think the booking of this might make you go a bit, what? Is this push? Is looking at a butterfly? Is this a push? It still is. I'm just going to hold too much judgment on what's going on. I still feel like Apollo Crews is going to play a part in the run-up to Money in the Bank or in the aftermath of Money in the Bank, whether we see maybe he's the one that dethrones Andrade for the US Championship. We'll see. I've enjoyed the push of Apollo Crews. This guy can go, and now we're actually getting to see him go. After a quick clip of Becky Lynch's 24 documentary, it is the turn of Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, who are turning a D push into a hard push. They're facing Everrise in tag team action. Everrise get quite a bit in on Ricky here until Cedi makes the tag. It's a big tag team maneuvering that finishes off with a flatliner followed by a double stomp, like a combo at the same time. So Ricky comes off the top with a double stomp and Cedi goes down, downward spiral type thing. 1, 2, 3, and they win again. And they're now talking about putting Ricochet and Cedric in the conversation with the tag team champions. And then on the screen, we get MVP, who introduces us to his new clients, Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink, and says next week we're getting Cedric Alexander and Ricochet facing Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne again. A rematch from the other week. A rematch, according to MVP, that will be balling. I like this. So C+ for the match. Good match. Showcase for Cedric Alexander and Ricochet once again. Love their work. Continue to evolve as a brilliant tag team very quickly. And next week we have a tag match with Vink and Thorne. I'm really glad to see Vink and Thorne getting some love now, because they've been doing stuff on Raw ever since it went into Empty Arena era, and now they're getting something really meaty, and with MVP there as well. That's really cool. Main event o'clock, and it's a contract signing main event o'clock. It's Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre signing for their match at Money in the Bank. Jerry Lawler is presiding until Drew McIntyre says, look, you know how these things go, you might want to get away. And so Lawler goes, yep, no worries. This at Memphis in the 70s, I'm off. Drew McIntyre signs very quickly, hands it to Seth. And Seth Rollins cuts a great promo here where he talks about how this isn't something he wants to do. This is something he has to do. He praises Drew McIntyre as being a strong competitor, but he's not a leader. And right now, WWE need a leader, and it needs to be him. Drew McIntyre says it is clear that Seth Rollins is full of SH1T, except he said it properly, but I can't say it because demonetization. Drew gives Seth some advice. 1, shut your mouth everywhere, not just here in the ring, but online, in front of friends and family, everywhere. And also, go for the throat at Money in the Bank, because I will as well. Rollins stands up, signs the contract at last, and as he does, Drew McIntyre bounces his head off the table, and we get ourselves a fight. Drew is going for a Claymore, then Murphy appears out of nowhere to distract Drew McIntyre, knocks him to the ground. Rollins and Murphy embrace on the other side of the ring. It gives Drew enough time to get back to his feet and charges at Rollins and Murphy with the Claymore. But Rollins gets out of the way and Murphy just eats the Claymore. Not sure here whether it was a case of Rollins just protected himself, felt something coming and ducked, or whether it will transpire that Murphy either pushes him out of the way or warns him that it's coming. Probably warns him that it's coming. That would be very in keeping with the disciple-y type character. So Drew flattens Murphy, Rollins takes a powder, and we go off air. Giving this segment an A-. Great way to end the night tonight. The best part of the night was right at the very end. I love the dynamic with these two, with Drew as the defiant champion who's like, you're you're not having this off me. This is mine now. And Seth saying, you don't understand. Like, I have to have that because I'm the leader. I love the dynamic here. And I think they'll have a great match at Money in the Bank. Overall this week, Raw is getting a C+, despite how great that last segment was, and despite how great the opening six-man tag was. Everything else in the middle was, it was there, all thereabouts. The triple threat nonsense dragged the average grade down here, unfortunately. But we'll do it all again next week. Officially now, the rise of Apollo Crews hangs in the balance as he has now got an injury. If he doesn't appear next week, we run the risk of breaking the habit. And this personally, very much like Pilates with somebody I found on YouTube, is not a habit I want to break. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.